wasn't about becoming number one. But in the second book, there are some people who'd never written before, never been in a book, and they said, can we get this to number one? And I go, I don't see why not. So we did everything we could, and it did. It went number one internationally. And then the Giving Book Volume 3 went number one internationally. So now we're in Volume 4. And I imagine it's going to do the same again, but I love it because people are bringing their heart. I mean, some people have a business that they do, but yet they want to just write this poem, or they want this story. Or, hey, do you know I also...
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Ability Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. Hey, everyone. I have an amazing guest today. So, can you tell us who you are and how you like to spend your time?
Hi, Nick. I'm LS Kirkpatrick, and I am a multiple award-winning international best-selling author. So, yeah, I like to write.
Which is so cool.
It is. It's so much fun because I do children's books, but I do imagination creative stories. You know, there's so many wonderful books out there that talk about bullies, talk about how to dress yourself and all of these. And I thought, well, where are those really great stories about fairy tales and gnomes and imagination? And so I thought, you know, I wrote stories for my grandkids, and that's what we talked about. So I turned those stories into books, or I'm doing that.
Well, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. You know, all kids need more books.
Yes.
We all need more books. We all need more books.
Yeah, you can never have too many. It might seem like it, but no.
Yep. You know, I love reading. You know, I read at least one book a week. So,
oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah. Well,
that's very commendable.
I should say I listen to at least one book a week. I love Audible, so it's nice to be able to, you know, when you're in the car or wherever, you can just listen to a book, you know. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And, like, I've found that a lot of the books that, you know, I've read, like, physically read in the past, and then I listen to the audio where the author actually, you know, does the audio work, you know, they tell the story, and it's a lot better because the author, you know, really gets into it.
Yeah, yeah, you get all that inflection in it that maybe you didn't realize, you know, because sometimes you read something and then we hear somebody else read it and it's like, wow, I never read it like that. That's just amazing.
Exactly.
And it's funny because last night I was reading to my husband. We saw something on TV and I had the book. So he goes, look it up. So I looked it up and I read the part there and I'm reading it. Boy, I'm really getting into it because it was just, you know, they gave one sentence and it's like, man, you read the whole paragraph or the whole page that's there. And it was just so exciting. And it just really changes sometimes the way you've looked at a book, and it makes it more intriguing. So that's a great idea. So yeah, for you listeners that are there, you know, it's, if you've read something, you know, try it on Audible and hear how maybe the author wants to read it and just get that passion that they have for it.
Exactly. It's a lot of times it's a big difference, but it can also go the other way because I've read books and then listened to the Audible version, and you know, sometimes the author doesn't actually do the reading themselves.
Yeah.
And if the author doesn't do the reading, it's usually not that good.
Yeah, you lose something in there then.
You do.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's like, So yeah, it's really cool.
I really need to look into that and do my book. So that's, maybe I need to light a fire under that burner
so.
and let's get it cooking.
Yeah, I think that would be great. And then, you know, you can reach more people because, you know, people tend to be kind of lazy nowadays, so we all like
Yeah.
to listen as we go.
Well, and two, you can get so many more books read through the year by having
Yep.
Audible. It gives your time. Sometimes they just, waiting in line or waiting at the doctor's office, although that's
Hmm.
getting better. But, there's times you're just waiting for something to happen, or you're on lunch break and you just want to kind of chill out a little bit, and you can carry, you know, 1,000 books on your phone, instead of
Exactly.
in your pocket. So you get a real choice all the time. And that's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. So, can you tell us more about the books that you write?
Oh man. Well, I tell you, I write a lot of chapters for anthologies, but
Mm.
it's interesting because they're also pieces of my life.
Mm-hmm.
We all have a story, and
Mm-hmm.
I thought, I don't have a story. But what I found out was I have a lot of little stories because it's all of these experiences make up the life I'm living. It's not
Yep.
like one major thing happened, which it does for some people. They have one major thing that happens and they do all these amazing things because of something that affected their life. And that's really great. That's good. And for me, it's like, well, I don't have one thing, but I do have this. So I can help people that are going through this. I can share what I've learned and give them hope that, hey, you don't have to stay in like a toxic relationship, or
Mm-hmm.
if you're trying to figure out how to work blended families together and work the holidays and do all of this. Well, hey, I've written something in that. In fact, on my website, I have a free PDF on blended holidays and how to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, different ideas of how to make it all work together. And that came from my show. There's a lot of things I do. I can't just sit still and do one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have a show, and
Mm-hmm.
I've got a nonprofit that I'm doing. It's called Orphans and Widows. It's for orphan children, but wayward children as well, and the newly widowed. And what my foundation does is provide funds for other nonprofits that are out there, because there's some amazingly great nonprofits there that are already doing the great work. They just need some help. And so I
Mm-hmm.
love to raise funds to help them. The giving book I do, which is an anthology book, but it includes photographs, it includes artwork, it includes anime work, it includes recipes, it includes things from children and from adults, and memoirs and stories, and just poetry. It's the book that I give back once a year, and all the profits from Amazon and the books that I personally sell all go to a nonprofit. And it's wonderful because I don't charge to be in this book. Last
Mm-hmm.
time I had 33 authors in it. The last two books went number one. The first one didn't, because it wasn't ever my intention to do something like that.
Right.
It wasn't about becoming number one. But in the second book, there are some people who'd never written before, never been in a book, and they said, can we get this to number one? And I go, I don't see why not. So we
Mm-hmm.
did everything we could, and it did. It went number one internationally. And then the Giving Book Volume 3 went number one internationally. So now we're in Volume 4. And I imagine it's going to do the same again. But I love it because people are bringing their heart. I mean, some people have a business that they do, but yet they want to just write this poem, or they want this
Mm-hmm.
story. Or, hey, do you know I also paint? So this gives them an outlet to um, showcase something else that they do. And
Mm-hmm.
then the reader has all of these amazing, amazing interests and stories and ideas, and it's just beautiful the way it comes together. You can tell I'm really passionate about this book. I enjoy it so much, and I format it and we put it together, and they're just wonderful. Yeah, so I'm very excited about
Well, yeah,
this.
and
Yeah.
that's incredible because you're giving people a place to tell their story,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's why I do this. That's why I have a
Yeah.
podcast, is to allow people to tell their story and help others, because I believe that everybody has a story that can help
Yes.
somebody else. And
Yeah.
if you can just help one person, you're not actually helping only one person, because that person is going to help another, and then that person is going to help another. So it's like a domino effect. Just
Oh,
help
yeah.
one person, and it just continues.
Yep. And you never know, maybe that third person down the line helps 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
But all because you took that one step. I talk
Yep.
about fear because people are afraid to do it. Well, what if this happens, or what if that happens, or I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody'd be interested, and they really are. And so you have to look at fear or taking that risk as a hologram. We all know holograms, show something, but it's not real. It's just an
Mm-hmm.
image of something. And you can put your hand through it and you can walk through it and you can ignore it, and it's not going to do anything because it's not real. So if you look at fear that way, you just take that one step forward into it and
Mm-hmm.
you learn so many things. And you gain friendships that you didn't know you were going to have. It's just a wonderful thing to experience. And I was talking with a friend of mine, and in one book, we're both writing in this book, and it's called Born to Risk. It'll be out in a few months,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like great risk brings great rewards. Hard time
Yep.
saying that, but it's true.
It is.
You've got to take a risk, but you're going to get such an amazing reward from it,
Mm-hmm.
and it may be rewards you didn't even realize were going to come from it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's, yeah, don't be afraid, and if you're afraid, that's okay. Find someone who's not afraid, and gain, grab their courage to help you go through on it.
Yeah, and I think it was Michael Jordan or Nike. They have a quote. It's like, if you're or if you're scared, just do it scared.
Yeah, that's
Like,
right.
and it's that simple. Push yourself outside your comfort zone, because that's the only way you're going to grow and improve your life, yourself, anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't have to do it alone.
No.
Find somebody who's already done it and talk with them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, well, I can't say everybody because I don't know everybody, but the people that I've contacted who have already published books, who have already, become a nonprofit, they're all more than willing to share with you on what they've learned along the way. And it helps you so you can avoid some mistakes. So you
Mm-hmm.
know some of the right things to do and where to go. So don't ever think you have to do it alone. There's some things you have to do. You have to write the story,
Mm-hmm.
but other people
Yep.
can maybe help you come up with a title or come up with a cover page or find the right publisher for you. Writing children's books is way different than doing a business book. And
Mm-hmm.
doing a business book and children's books are way different than doing a romance novel or a young adult novel, or all the other genres that are out there of different kinds of books that are available.
Mm-hmm.
So you find somebody who's already doing that, and talk to them. And there's always local groups you can find. I mean, with the internet, we're so much more connected than we've ever been. Um,
Yep.
so you can find places. Hey, you can always ask me. That's what I do too.
There you go, everyone. Just reach out to her, and she can help you out.
That's right, and I love it. I'm actually helping. I won't say who they are, but I'm helping a business who's going to write a book, um, just a compilation of stories geared to the business that they do, and I'm
Yep.
really excited about it. I
That's so
love this. I
awesome.
love helping people get their stories out. And there is nothing as amazing as seeing their face just light up when they hold that book in their hand, or they send
Mm-hmm.
me an email. Hey, LS, guess what? I got my books today. Or they give me a call or send me a picture. I mean, it's just wonderful because that is a great accomplishment to go after a dream that you maybe even thought you never could achieve, and you did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so true, because, like, I remember when I got the book that I wrote in the mail. I opened it up, and, like, just to hold your own book,
Yeah.
It's just an incredible feeling, like, because, like, growing up, I've always liked books, but then, like, after high school, I hadn't read a book in, like, I don't know, about 10 years after high school.
Yeah. That's really
Until,
common.
yeah, until, I got on my self-development journey and I wanted to improve my life and everything. And then I started reading again and I was like, oh, it's just amazing. So, like, growing up, like, it's weird looking back because I always dreamed to be an author, but I never thought I would because I was like, I don't like writing, so how am I ever going to be an author? But now I do like it, and
Yeah.
here I am. I am an author, so it's
Yeah.
really cool.
That is, and if you don't like to write, then transcribe it, talk in a digital recorder, talk in your phone.
Yep.
There's transcription services online for apps that you can get. So you can do it that way. You can hire somebody to listen to you talk, just
Mm-hmm.
be on Zoom like this. And then they can ask questions if they don't quite understand something, because that actually gives more clarity to the reader. And it's like, oh, well, I wouldn't have thought someone would want to know what it means in this direction or something. So, that's a great way to do it too.
Yep. And, I do actually do the talk to type on my phone. So
Yeah.
that is actually what I do. And yeah, it's way easier because, well, like, I post videos every day on social media, so I can talk. That's fine. So, and a lot of times, like, I'll get going and I'll just keep on talking. And so for, writing my book now, it works out really good because, like, I just keep on going, getting
Yeah.
more ideas, and then, like, I'll stop and I'll read what I typed or I talked,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then I'll get more ideas and then keep on going.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's okay if you're writing something. And sometimes when I'm writing, I get to a place and it's like, I just can't write anymore. What's wrong? So I'll go back and maybe read the last two paragraphs I wrote. And it's like,
Yep.
well, what's wrong is this doesn't even make any sense to me. So I'll go
Hmm.
back a little bit further until it's making sense. Then I'll read up and then I'll find the part where it just kind of stops. And then sometimes I'll just wipe that out, or I'll just put an
Hmm.
X through it if I'm writing it down, because I use all kinds of ways to write the books. And then
Yep.
I'll think on it, or I'll go
Hmm.
do something else to get my mind off it, even though it's still in the back of my mind. And then it'll be like, oh, I know what's wrong with that. I was going down the wrong direction for where the story needs to go. So I'll go back and I'll redo it. And it's like, yeah. And then I'm just on fire to keep going more and more.
Yep. Exactly. And that kind of makes me think of something. So I I was either listening to a podcast or something about writing, and
Yeah.
the recommendation was don't, like, if you are writing and you gotta stop to do something or you're done writing for the day or something, don't stop at the end of a paragraph. Literally stop like mid sentence,
Oh,
because then, yeah. And I was like, I don't know about that, but I tried. I tried that. It actually works great. But
oh, good.
sometimes that last sentence, you're like, I don't know where I was going with that, so you just delete that. But it does help you kind of get going again because
Yeah.
you're not ending your paragraph or chapter. You're just ending a sentence. So
Yeah.
then you start to think on it more.
That's really great. That's really great.
Yeah.
And the one thing, I actually watched an interview with Stephen King, and he talks about how, I one day a week goes into his office for 3 or 4 hours.
Hmm.
Nothing gets in there unless the house is burning down around him. You do not disturb him, because you
Hmm.
need to stop those distractions. So you pick the
Hmm.
same time, the same day, and you cut everything else out. And what this does too is your brain will automatically go into writing mode. So
Yep.
it's already thinking, okay, I've put these things away. Now we're going to go into this. Because if you just write sporadically, now your brain has to stop everything it's doing, readjust
Hmm.
itself, concentrate back onto this before you can get going. And sometimes, that's in a half hour or an hour later, and you're like, oh, wow, I was going to be in here writing. What did I do? But if you have a set time and a set place and a set day, that's the other thing. Try to make it the same place all the time. One
Yep.
thing I've been talking about is I've had people tell me that they take 15 minutes in their car before they go to work, or when they get off work before they get on the road, or when they get home before they go in the house. And that's a great place. It's quiet. You've adjusting from where you've been, and your brain automatic says, okay, we've got this 15 minutes. This is when we're going to write, and you make the best use of that time. Some wait
Yeah.
until their kids have gone to bed, and then they go into their room and write then. It's just depends on what works for you. I'm one of those people that for a few years I would wake up 3 o'clock in the morning with an idea. So I have a pad and a pen by my bed, write the idea down. And if it just keeps writing, then I go into my room and I finish writing the story, and I'm done by the time my husband gets up and goes to work, you know.
Yep. Yep.
And sometimes you just have that. I've heard other people talk about the 3 o'clock hour. I don't know what it is, golden hour or something, but you've got that quiet time and you're there. And if your brain's already churning, you just can't turn it off. It's pretty crazy how you can't just shut it down like that. But you get it out the best that you can, and you don't worry about penmanship. You don't worry. Well, you kind of worry about penmanship because you have to be able to read it, but you don't worry about grammar. You don't worry about punctuation, and if it's flowing right or not. You have to get it out and onto. I say paper, but it can be digital or whatever. You get it out, you get it down, and then you can go back and if you need to think it over. Don't go back and edit your story. Now you can go back and read a chapter or find out, oh, what did I say his name was over here and what did he do, and then bring it into this one. Wait until you're completely done before you edit it yourself. Now, what you can do if you have like a proofreader or somebody that's helping you along, you can give them the first chapter and then you go on to the next one, and you can do one chapter at a time. That way, you're not waiting and waiting and waiting for them to get done with your book before you get it back. That kind of speeds up the process a little bit. And if there's things that you need to adjust, you can, but don't really concentrate on what needs to be done until your book is done. If there's just a couple of things like, hey, it doesn't make sense that this guy has a green house with a blue car, and you say this guy has a green house with a blue car. Now I'm confused as to which one it is. Something like that can be adjusted right away. But usually you wait until it's done before you really edit it. And if you're going to edit your work or someone else is going to read it, ask them to read it out loud. Because as you're reading it out loud, your brain is reading one thing, your mouth is saying one thing, and sometimes they don't coincide because you forgot a word or it just really doesn't make sense, and you kind of stop yourself. It's like, wait, what did I just say? So you read it again. It's like, okay, I can make that quick adjustment. Yeah, and the more eyes you have on it before it goes out, the better, because you can have 5 people read it. All 5 of them will find something and it needs to be corrected, and then the 6th person can read it and still find something. It's just the way it is. It's the nature of the business, put it that way.
Yeah, and I like how you put that. Have other people read it, because when you write, you can read it as many times as you want, and in your brain, you know what you want to say.
Yes.
But that might not be what's actually in the book. And,
that's right.
And I'm bringing that up because it was months after I released my first book. I actually sat down and read it, because my book is about motivation and finding motivation and keeping it going. And I was feeling very unmotivated. So I was like, all right, I wrote a book about this. Let's pick that up and read it. So I did. And I mean, it worked. I got back, I found my motivation again. So it worked. But I found so many mistakes, because it was, months after I wrote it, I was like, whoops, I messed up there, I messed up there, but what I did is I made a video about it, and I was like, look, nobody's perfect. My book isn't
That's right.
perfect, just like me, but it's still good enough to help other people,
And relevant.
and
Yeah.
that's what matters.
Yep. Yep. And you can always do a second edition. Nothing
Exactly.
wrong with that.
Yep.
That's why there are
Exactly.
second and third editions, you know?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. I love what you're doing, and hopefully someday I can be one of your people in your books.
Oh, I
Because
would
that
love
would be
that.
awesome. That would be so
Absolutely.
cool.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
I know a couple of people that are writing in your books. So yeah, it's really cool.
Oh, good.
Really
Good.
cool.
Oh, that
Yeah,
makes my
really
heart
cool.
feel really wonderful.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's just, there's so much joy in giving people a place to have their voice be heard.
Yep.
My golden nugget, my motto, whatever it is you have great value. You are worthy, you are enough, and you matter. And you need to let your
Mm-hmm.
voice be heard. You know, uh,
Yes.
everybody is so unique and wonderful, and it's what makes them unique. The
Mm-hmm.
choices they made, how they lived their life, what they've lived through. Nobody else can tell it like they can, because everybody has a different perspective on something. You can have five people talk about the same subject and you'll have five different perspectives on it. And it's wonderful because what doesn't reach one person, maybe what you say will reach that person, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you never know. You never know.
Exactly. And I tell everyone, you have a story. Share it with the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And you do already, because we talk about our lives with other people, or someone comes to us for advice, and you rely on all of this wisdom and knowledge that you have gained through the years, through what you've experienced, and you're able to talk to them and say, well, have you thought about this? Because
Mm-hmm.
maybe they hadn't thought about it, and or maybe they didn't know that this was available to them. So it's nothing that you're not already doing. You are. You just
Yeah.
need to do more.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Just keep on doing it. Yeah,
that's
I love
right.
that. I love that. So, what does my slogan, "Your abilities are infinite," mean to you?
Oh man. I think that goes with what I'm saying. Everybody has something different. Everybody can do
Mm-hmm.
something different. Um, and what you're able to do, not everybody else can do that, or in the
Mm-hmm.
way that you do it. You may have
Mm-hmm.
five people who can climb a mountain, but maybe the way you do it is so unique that you can help somebody that maybe hasn't been able to climb a mountain before. Maybe you have more
Yep.
patience to work with somebody than somebody else does. Um, yeah, everybody does have something wonderful and valuable inside of them.
Mm-hmm.
And and there's no reason why they can't do what they want to do. I mean, there's,
Mm-hmm.
people may not think this equates to that, but it kind of does. People have a lot of dreams and visions, as far as I see this, that I would love to do this and be here and do that, and I could see myself doing this, but they don't ever do anything with it. And there
Yep.
is a place that's really kind of got me the first time I ever heard it. But there is a place where all of these amazing dreams and amazing visions are. And it's called a cemetery, because
Yep.
nobody took that step. Nobody said, or they said, hey, I want to do this. And people said, oh, you can't do that. Don't believe them.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know you can't if you don't try? Don't let them die with you.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to somebody the other day that said, yeah, I always wanted to, but I don't ever see myself doing it. And I'm like, why not? You know,
Yeah.
why not? And a lot of it is things that, not that anybody intentionally put into us, but things that we've heard growing up. When I was in New York last year, all of a sudden I realized, wow, I'm standing next to Carnegie Hall in New York. And for me, that was a really big deal because my piano teacher was asked to be the protege of Tchaikovsky, who opened up Carnegie Hall, who played the opening day of Carnegie Hall. She was
Wow.
83 at the time when I was very young, very
Mm-hmm.
young. And and I thought, wow, it would be really cool to play at Carnegie Hall. And then I wondered, I'm 65 years old. I don't mind people knowing how old I am. I'm still going for my dreams. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, why didn't I ever play at Carnegie Hall? And as I was thinking about that, and we went, the rest of us, we finished having dinner and taking our walks and just enjoying the time together. And that night, all of a sudden, it comes to my mind, I hear, that's for other people, not us. Didn't even realize that was in my brain. Didn't even
Mm-hmm.
realize that had stopped me all these years from doing the things I really wanted to do because that was for other people, not me. And it's like, why not me? What's stopping me?
Yeah.
So now I am in the process of conducting I can't say an orchestra or an event, I will put it that way, an event
Yeah.
where I have gathered several musicians together and we're going to play in Carnegie Hall. I've got it set up.
That's
Hopefully
so
we can do it
awesome.
next year. Depends on what they have available. And I won't find
Yep.
out the dates until October. But
Yeah.
but I'm going to do it. So, my thought was I don't even care if it's just the janitor that's there or if
Yep.
nobody shows up. I'm going to play at Carnegie Hall. And now I'm going to do it. I mean, it's why isn't it for me? Well, it is. You
Yeah.
need to just go
Mm-hmm.
out and do it and take that step. And yeah, it's scary. Oh man, is it
Mm-hmm.
scary? It's hard work because you have, well, what if this doesn't work? What if this? What if this?
Yep.
And it's like, what if we have another COVID event? What if this
Mm-hmm.
happens? You get all
Yep.
those, and it's like, well, if it does, I learn how to get through it. And that's
Yep.
the big thing. When things are not going right, when you feel like, oh, that was such a failure. No, it's not, because now you can look at it and say, why didn't this work? What
Mm-hmm.
could I have done differently? And what
You
can I
can
do
learn.
differently? And in
Mm-hmm.
fact, trying even just to come up with a name for the event is really difficult because I want it to be impactful, but yet I want it to really show just how amazing this event's going to be and what people are going to
Yeah.
be able to get out of it and take home with them. And 10 years from now, they're still going to be talking about it. So how do you put that into a title? So I
Yeah.
had to go ask somebody. It's like, hey, you're
Mm-hmm.
really great at this. What do we do? So, we're coming over with, well, what is it you want? And all kinds of different things. And so now my brain is going, well, I really want this outcome to be from this. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe this title will work. And you just kind of keep on going with things like that. And it's like, fine, you
Yep.
get the title, you've picked the time, you've picked the date. What else can you put in with it? What can you show? So it's amazing that once you start on something, what my alarm goes off, what what all the other amazing things that you can have happen with it, and I get very animated and very excited. but
I love it. It's
that's the
amazing.
passion you should have with it.
Yeah.
If you're not passionate about it, then why are you doing it? You
Yep.
know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, find something you're passionate about and then just go. Just do
Yeah.
it no matter what.
Yeah, and if you don't know
Amazing.
how to do it, find somebody who's already succeeded at it and
Yeah.
talk to them. And if they don't want to talk to you, that's okay. Go talk to
Yep.
somebody else and you will find somebody. And maybe
Mm-hmm.
you just need to take it one step at a time. If you want to play music, well, why haven't you ever played music? You want to play
Mm-hmm.
banjo of all things. I live in Austin, Texas. There's banjos
Yep.
here. So if you want to play a banjo, did you know there's different kinds of banjos? I didn't know that
Mm-hmm.
until I got mine down. And it's
Yep.
like, oh, there's a tenor banjo. Well, I'd kind of like to play some Irish music. I have a drum.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a bow drum that I play. It'd be fun to have
Mm-hmm.
the banjo to go with it. And
Yep.
so go find a music teacher, find some music instruction, maybe find a high schooler that knows how to play and ask them to teach you, pay them
Yep.
to teach you, or do something like that, get in a group of musicians that are just starting out. That can be really scary because you think, I don't have the skills, and then you start this comparison thing. Don't compare yourself with other people.
Don't
This
do
is
that.
you
No.
and your skills. Compare yourself with you, and you is like, I'm going to go do this. Whether if you want to sing, I hired a voice coach because I have a scratchy voice. I've got a rough voice just from the years of all of the places that I've been and done and lived, and now I have GERD that comes in at night, and it's like, so now I have to learn to work my voice differently. So you find ways to get to where you want to go, and you just learn. And if you say, oh, I want to learn it now, well, remember, everything does take time because you've got to put the practice in. And sometimes you can do something and somebody will take you right away and you'll get it done, but you're going to have learned a lot of things through that. And you're going to say, well, I wish we would have done this differently, or I wish I would have done that differently. Well, now you know. So now you can do it differently. Yeah.
Exactly. That's so powerful because, like one thing that I believe in is I can't fail if I don't give up. And every time that I do, say fail, okay, what did I learn?
Yeah.
And now I'm going to do it better next time.
That's right. That's right. I had a businessman say, don't ask me how many victories I've had. Don't ask me how many times I succeeded. You want to know how I really got to where I am? Ask me about my failures. Ask me how I got through them. Ask me what I learned from them. Because that's really where your growth and where your learning comes from, and where you really advance. It's tough. It's really tough.
It really is.
But you do get through it. And you get to these, people talk about different levels and whatnot. And you get to a different level. I look at where I was 2.5 years ago. It would be in July when I put my first book out that went international. You can't really see it there we go. It's the black and white one in the top right corner. It'll be 2 years July when that book came out. And that was my first anthology. I had 7, I think there's 7 or 8 authors in there. Now I don't remember. I remember the people, but I don't remember the numbers. But we're still good friends. We still talk with each other. But I felt a real responsibility in making sure the book was right for them. Even though it was my book and my name was going to be on it, I shared it with them. Their names are on the back and stuff too, but I felt a real responsibility to them. And so, it was worth all of the struggles and the strife and sometimes even there's a little bit of fighting, arguing amongst people. It's like, well, I want this and I want that. And what are we going to do about this? And it's like, and I'm like, whoa, what did I get myself into? When I wrote somebody else's book, I don't remember it all being like this. Well, it wasn't, because I'm on the receiving end now, not the, here's my chapter, go have fun with it, and it was tough. And at one point I thought, wow, is this even worth it? And it's like, well, we're going to find out, and it was. Look where I am now. I went from 1 to 24 books. How can you go wrong with that? You can't. You just keep going forward.
You're so inspiring and insightful and just helpful, because this has helped me a lot, because I will be writing a lot of books throughout my life. So now I have an expert that I can talk to.
Awesome. Anytime, Nick. Anytime.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was really, really great.
Well, thank you so much. I am so honored to be here. I appreciate it.
If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me in it, the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit. because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors. So let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone. Remember, your abilities are infinite.